Tejashwi Yadav has sparked a Samvidhan versus Sharia face-off ahead of the Bihar poll dangle. RJD leaders have vowed to throw the Waqf Act into the dustbin. India bloc has endorsed it and BJP has slammed the insult of the Constitution, the Judiciary and the Parliament. Of course, this is going to be the top focus on the show. In fact, it has once again taken center stage with the Bihar elections around the corner. In fact, we've seen even a protest rally being organized in Patna's Gandhi Maidan yesterday under the banner of a Muslim organization called I.N.D.I.A. Sharia. At this protest rally, Tejashwi Yadav declared that N.D.I.A government in Bihar is on its way out, and when Mahagathbandhan is formed, it will throw the Waqf Act into the dustbin. A host of leaders from the India bloc were part of the rally when this assertion was made. Congress party in fact endorsed the Junk Waqf Act call and said that they will correct N.D.I.A government's move to make changes to the Waqf Act. Remember, the Waqf Bill was passed in Parliament in April after a heated debate in both houses. The aim of the act, as stated by the government, is to streamline the management of Waqf properties by bringing in enhanced transparency. Tejaswi's declaration with regard to the Waqf Act, which has been passed by Parliament, reminds us of what Rahul Gandhi said in a press meet in 2013, when he termed a UPA government ordinance complete nonsense and said that it should be torn and thrown out. Now, the BJP has slammed the India alliance, accusing it of repeatedly insulting the Constitution, the Parliament and the Judiciary. The BJP said that parties like RJD, Samajwadi Party, are not following Samajwad but Namazwad, and BJP has also vowed that it won't allow the country to be run as per a Sharia script.
This is a very unconstitutional act, and it has been the Supreme Court has also supported this view. For we will this is a correct statement of Mr. Tejashwi Yadav ji.
No, I don't understand why there was a need to change the Waqf Act, the existing Waqf laws, without consulting people, without consulting the stakeholders. Why was it rushed through? So there are questions around the Waqf, the new Waqf law, and we are definitely going to correct it.
वोट बैंक की चाहत में जो कुछ बोला गया है तेजस्वी यादव और इंडी गठबंधन के अन्य नेताओं के द्वारा, उससे साफ है कि यह संविधान को कूड़ेदान में फेंकने की 50 साल पुरानी मानसिकता से बाहर नहीं आ पा रहे हैं। इसलिए राजद और सपा का समाजवाद कतई समाजवाद नहीं कहा जा सकता, जिसे आजकल सोशल मीडिया में इस प्रकार का एक वर्ड यूज होता है कि नमाजवाद कहा जाए, तो अतिशयोक्ति न होगी। देश का संविधान बाबा साहब के विधान से चलेगा, शरिया के फरमान से नहीं चलेगा। आपने अपने दौरे हुकूमत में शरिया के 1 दर्जन प्रावधान बाबा साहब के संविधान में पिछले दरवाजे से लागू किए। आप इस संविधान को शरिया स्क्रिप्ट बनाना चाहते हैं, हम नहीं होने देंगे।
You're watching the News Hour at 10, debate number 1 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
Listening this across to our guest now. Joining us is Tuhin Sinha, national spokesperson of the BJP. Dr. A.K. Vajpayee is national chief spokesperson of the LJPR. We have Ashwini Kumar Mishra, leader of the Congress party. Joining us is also is Asif Sohail, political analyst. But my first question is for Shyam Kumar, leader, a spokesperson of the RJD. Mr. Shyam Kumar, can you explain to our viewers how will this act be removed if your party is elected to power in Bihar? From the last, and I know on the best of my knowledge, this is an act passed by Parliament. आप आते ही इसको डस्टबिन में कैसे डालेंगे?
No, the point is that there is just actually by coming of such laws, it just sincere effort to enter autonomy of one particular community. India is a secular country. Let us respect each and every community, their culture, their lifestyle, their food habits and everything. So by coming of such laws, we want to divide the society. There is a sense of polarization by such laws. So once we will come in power, definitely we raise certain fundamental question and concern. By coming in the Bihar, we have more say to speak on that. You know very well, in any working democracy and developing democracy, opposition is, government democracy is incomplete without effective opposition. So, there is a big sense after coming in the power as well. We are voice of
will talk
voiceless. We
about
are
it.
voice of marginalized
You will talk
community.
about it, but you also admit you
Voice
cannot
not
put it in the
heard.
dustbin. Mr. Tejashwi Yadav has taken a lot of grandstanding. It's a position he's done. But he says कि इस कानून को बिहार राज्य जो है कूड़े के ढेर में फेंकने का काम करेगा. कैसे करेगा आप अभी तक बता नहीं पाए.
See, see, I tell you very clear on this point that there is a sincere effort to undermine. We don't want to create, two kind of citizen in the country. Therefore, such laws, by coming the such laws, we
How will you remove the law, sir? Tell us how will you repeal the law?
Also challenge in the honorable. See, sir, sir, let me clarify my stand and party stand. We have gone to Supreme Court. Have you seen that? Many petitions are already filed there.
Okay.
So we will work in that direction.
We'll fight the battle legally and we'll ensure the law is removed. Tuin Sinha, is that an acceptable argument? We will fight the battle legally speaking. We will challenge it in a constitution court like we're entitled to. Seems to be the argument coming from RJD spokesperson. Tuin.
Sir. See, politically as well.
Well, good evening, Madhav. Good evening, everybody.
Mr. Shamkot, you have spoken. Let's go one by one, please. You've already put across your point of view. Let others comment. Tuin Sinha, please.
Tejashwi Yadav's reckless statements yesterday have made it very clear that both RJD and Congress party are fundamentally anti-constitution. They need to realize that a law passed by both houses of parliament and implemented as law of the land cannot be undone either by political rhetoric or by street veto and street power. Only and only the judiciary has the power to take a call on it, and if the matter is sub judice, they have absolutely no right to say that they can dump the law. They can dump the law abruptly. If you recall, Mamata Banerjee had made similar statements in April, and what followed barely 2-3 days later were the riots of Murshidabad. So these attempts by Tejashwi Yadav is a toxic attempt, is a notorious attempt to instigate a certain community, into communal action, and I think it needs to be condemned in all forms. Now, when it comes to the important changes that have been made in the Waqf Amendment Act, they were long required. The spurious legislations of 1995 and 2013 had basically made the Waqf Board operate as a land shark, as a land mafia. They were indulging in unbridled loot and unbridled aggrandizement of land, and we have basically corrected the wrongs done by 1995 and 2013 legislation, besides obviously ending the work by user. But we will absolutely respect the judgment of the court, and I think they need to show, the opposition needs to show that basic respect for the judiciary and for the parliament. But by opposing this and by casting aspersions on the judiciary and casting aspersions on the parliament, I think they have shown that they are fundamentally
I'm going to come into the parliament argument in respect of institutions in just a minute. That's another line of argument. But I want to ask Asif Sohail a simple question. Asif Sohail, तुहिन सिन्हा कहते हैं कि बहुत irresponsible act है इस तरह के उत्तेजित बयान देके you can cause a huge amount of damage to society, and just listen to the kind of statement coming in from MMM leader Akhtarul Iman. He said that मस्जिदों के गुंबद तोड़े जा रहे हैं, टोपियां उछाली जा रही हैं, मुसीबत ये है कि मोदी जब से आया है मुसलमान को निशाना बनाया जा रहा है. This is the kind of language. Is this acceptable in public discourse? या इस तरह की violent language की जरूरत भी है?
माधव, देखिए, हकीकत यही है कि आज हिंदुस्तान में 2014 के बाद जो मुसलमानों पे, एससीओं पे, एसटीओं पे कितना जुल्म हुआ आप भी जानते हैं, मैं भी जानता हूं, कोई चीज छुपी नहीं है. और देखिए कितने लॉज को रिपील किया गया है भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने. उसके ऊपर बोलिए ना, अच्छे जो चीजें हिंदुस्तान में तरक्की तालीम के जरिए, नौकरियों के जरिए आती, उसके ऊपर काम नहीं हो रहा. सिर्फ यहाँ पे मुसलमानों को, हिंदुओं को डिवीजन की. देखिए बराबर बिहार के अंदर
नहीं, क्या कह रहे हैं
वहां की आवाम जो सो आने वाले चुनाव में वो, सुनिए मेरी बात, बिहार के अंदर आने वाले चुनाव में हर वो बिहार में जो रहने वाले लोग हैं वो बराबर हर वो पार्टी को कूड़ेदान में फेंकेंगे जो मुसलमान, हिंदू, एससी एसटी के खिलाफ काम करते हैं, बराबर फेंकेंगे उनको.
कैसे फेंकेंगे बताइए आप? मैंने यही सवाल पूछा.
जुल्म हो रहा है.
श्याम कुमार जी के पास तो जवाब नहीं था. कैसे कूड़ेदान में फेंकेंगे, कैसे रिपील करेंगे? स्टेट गवर्नमेंट क्या सेंट्रल लॉ को रिपील कर सकती है?
चुनाव के जरिए, देखिए चुनाव के जरिए
कानून निकाला जाएगा.
चुनाव के जरिए आज देखिए हिंदुस्तान के बराबर
सर,
होगा
आप
रिपील का हर
आप
चीज।
बीजेपी या जेडीयू को कूड़ेदान में डालने की बात नहीं कर रहे, आप वक्फ बिल को कूड़ेदान में डालने की बात कर रहे हैं। मैं बस समझना चाह रहा हूं, कोई स्पेशल कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन प्रोविजन के बारे में आपको ज्यादा जानकारी होगी, मेरे को तो समझ नहीं है, आप बताइए।
मैं बोल रहा हूं ना सर, मैं बोल रहा हूं ना सर, हर वो कानून जो हिंदुस्तान के अवाम के खिलाफ है, सिटीजन्स के खिलाफ है, उसे बराबर निकाल फेंका जाएगा। हर वो कानून, चाहे वक्फ का रहने दो, चाहे तालीम के लिए रहने दो, चाहे मुसलमानों के ऊपर जाति हो रही है उसके लिए रहना है, बराबर करा जाएगा। वो हमारी खूबसूरती कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन की यही है, हमें चुनाव
सर मैं आपसे आखिरी बात पूछ रहा हूं, अगर आपकी पार्टी चुन के आती है, अगर आपकी पार्टी आरजेडी चुन के आती है, तो आप कैसे इस कानून को कूड़ेदान में डालेंगे, कैसे इस कानून को हटाएंगे, हमें यह बताइए। What that will look like you are being completely irresponsible in your commentary.
देखिए बराबर सर माधव, कोई रिस्पॉन्सिबल की बात नहीं है, मैं फैक्ट बताने की कोशिश कर रहा हूं। आप अगर वो फैक्ट नहीं समझना चाह रहे तो मैं
क्या फैक्ट है, आप बताइए कैसे कानून हटाएंगे। सिंपल सवाल है, सिंपल सवाल है, ना आप जवाब दे पाएंगे ना श्याम जी बता पा रहे हैं, आप हमें समझाइए कैसे हटाएंगे कानून को।
सुप्रीम, सुनिए मैं जवाब दे रहा हूं ना सर। देखिए सर, सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने भी क्या कहा है आप भी जानते हैं। क्यों रुका गया वक्फ के कानून को, क्यों रुका गया है बताइए, आप बोलिए। आज हिंदुस्तानियों की
हियरिंग हो जाएगी, हियरिंग हो जाएगी कोर्ट के खुलते ही 14 तारीख को हियरिंग हो जाएगी, पता चल जाएगा कोर्ट ने स्टे दिया है कि स्टे हटा दिया है।
अरे सर आपको यकीन नहीं है, आपको हिंदुस्तान के पॉलिटिशियनों के ऊपर आपको यकीन है, सुप्रीम कोर्ट के ऊपर नहीं है। आप बताइए मुझे।
मैंने किसी का कोर्ट को नहीं है, सिंपल सवाल है सर, सिंपल जस्ट अ स्टेटमेंट ऑफ फैक्ट दैट द कोर्ट्स विल रीओपन आफ्टर द समर holiday and that will come out clear. Let me bring in Dr. A.K. Bajpai. Dr. A.K. Bajpai, does this argument make any sense? That we are going to fight it out in court? And therefore, I mean, on the one hand, they have raised questions on the effectiveness of the courts, on the effectiveness of the parliament, of the election commission, etc. All sorts of charges. But now suddenly, of course, it is, the entire argument is based upon the fact that there is a case pending in Supreme Court.
No, their declaration clearly shows how much respect they have for the constitution, for the parliament and for the judiciary. Otherwise, they could not have said like this, that the law will be sent in a dustbin. You repeatedly ask this question, how you can do, state assembly cannot repeal the law made by the parliament. These are the admitted fact. Nobody can dispute it. As far as judiciary is concerned, yes, definitely they will decide and they will scrutinize the things, whether the act made by the parliament is in conformity with the constitution or not. Definitely they will do it. But such type of a statement from the political party leader, what more you can expect, because Tejashwi Yadav qualification is only 9th fail. I am sorry to say this. And his father Lalu Yadav also used to adopt these type of gimmicks just to make a fool of a public. But now public will not. They understand. The law is made for the welfare of the poor Muslims. Please mind it. Pasmanda Musalman. Unke liye hai ye. For corruption, large corruption were there. So we have regulated the entire things. Big chunk of the land they are possessing. And how they do it, how they notify it, it's known to everybody. Now we have regulated, we have brought the bill, we have amended in the act itself, and now there are provisions as to how it is to be notified, how it is to be acquired, and these things are required to be done in the interest of the poor Muslims. Whether the land is given by A or B,
yes,
is not a subject matter.
Let me bring
or
in
the
Ashwini.
Purpose for which the land is donated, whether that purpose is being served.
Yeah, but that's the point. That's the point. This is where the politics is being played, Ashwini Mishra, and this is where I'm just quoting what Tejaswi Yadav has said. ये देश किसी के बाप का नहीं है, ये हम सबों का देश है। आप सब लोग, चाहे फखरुल्ला खान हो या भगत सिंह, सब लोगों ने शहादत दी, तब जाकर हमें आजादी मिली। अब सबसे महत्वपूर्ण बात, आपके जमीनों को छीना जा रहा है। सर, कौन सा प्रोविजन है वक्फ बिल में which is snatching the land away? Mr. Mishra, please tell us.
Yes, Madhavan, I'll tell point by point why Waqf Bill is anti-constitutional and also against natural justice. Article 20 subsection 2 of Constitution says that a bill cannot be applied ex post facto.
Sir, that is not my question. Very respectfully, Mr. Mishra, we've been debating this. The entire matter is being debated in Parliament. I have asked you two specific questions based upon the comments that have been made. We have been discussing this now for about 15 minutes. The point is either the legality of the arguments that have been made by Tejashwi Yadav, or whether this is fear mongering happening, or the provision where the land will be snatched, as has been alleged by him. Tell us that.
I'm trying to explain how the land will be snatched. That's what I'm trying to explain you, Madhav. Now you are removing buff by user, and on the other hand, Tuhin was telling that they respect Supreme Court. However, the matter is in Supreme Court sub judice, and they still launch a portal where people has to register their buff land. So all the buff which is acquired by user so far obviously will not have enough papers, and what they will do, they will grab that land and give it to all those industrious friends. That is where the problem is. You're going to apply a law on an acquisition which has happened in the past. Because
so where is it written in the act that will go to industrial friends? I mean, is there any basis of this claim, Mr. Mishra?
That is how BJP has been operating in last 11 years.
This is the problem, sir. This is the problem. The problem is not with Waqf Bill. The problem is what your perception of the government. Fair enough. You may have good enough reasons, but don't link that to the Waqf Bill.
Second, because they mock the education of Tejashwi Yadav. I want to understand what education Modi ji had when he said that planes cannot be detected by radar if there are many clouds.
Sir, the facts are there for all to know. Is there anything factually incorrect in what has been stated?
Because this bill is already in the Supreme Court will not allow this draconian changes. Because
so let's wait for the court. So why are you doing politics over it is the question. No, let's wait for the court. Why are you doing a rally where you are making all of these claims? What if the court says the other side is correct then?
We are not doing politics. Bharatiya Janata Party is the one who is doing politics by launching a portal which says register your buff property. Why they launch a portal?
Then you tell me, sir. You tell me. If you're not doing politics, if you're factually correct, tell me how the state government is going to repeal this bill. कूड़ेदान में कैसे फेंकेंगे? डस्टबिन में कैसे डालेंगे? बताइए.
Tejashwi Yadav has a foresight. He can see in 2029 we'll come into the power and repeal the bill.
In 2029 you will come and therefore you will pitch this just before the Bihar election.
Yes, he has a foresight. He can see. He can.
Okay, so the pitch is not for Bihar election. It's for Lok Sabha election.
The pitch is Bihar is just
that nobody mentioned that postscript. Nobody mentioned that postscript.
Bihar is just a start to kick out the BJP from the power.
This is the most interesting logic and argument I've heard all evening. Tuhin Sinha, Tejaswi is not pitching for Bihar assembly polls. This is the position being taken for 2029 Lok Sabha polls.
Well, imagine, a Congress representative is rooting for Lalu Yadav's family, for Tejashwi Yadav at the national level, which only shows that, probably they don't have much confidence in Rahul Gandhi. But point is, two things, one, I think one of the panelists does not understand that there is a clear difference. Waqf Act comes under the central law. It does not come under the state list, and therefore only and only the central government has a say on it. The two specific clauses which have been stayed by the Supreme Court, the government will respect that till a judgment of the Supreme Court comes about. But that does not limit us from starting a portal for registration, because we believe that registration of Waqf properties is very important. Madhav, after the 1995 legislation, there has been an exponential increase in acquisition and aggrandizement by the Waqf board, because obviously that 1995 legislation acted as a spurious enabler. It was very important to undo that damage, because obviously the Waqf board today is the third highest land accumulator in the entire country, and that does not augur well for the future of the country.
Okay, let me bring in, you must respond to that, Mr. Mishra. At the end of the day, are you now saying that Tejaswi is going to lead the India alliance in 2029? At Tejaswi's call to remove and put this in a dustbin, is he going to be leading the alliance? What happens to Mr. Rahul Gandhi then?
Allow me to ask a question to Tuhin. If Waqf has so many bad provisions, why did they supported the Waqf Bill in 2013? Why did they not oppose it that point of time? What is the need of having all those draconian amendment to be bring in? How will you identify practicing Muslim? How will you identify all those matters? And moreover, you are giving power to a corrupt, whose district magistrate, the IS are the most, bureaucracy the most corrupt in the current
district magistrate is the most corrupt across the country.
Yes,
Mr. Mishra, what are you saying on national television? Our entire government functions with the district magistrate. He's the most basic building block as far as our entire framework of bureaucracy is concerned. You are saying all are corrupt.
This is the harsh reality in the country. You are giving more control to the corrupt. You are going to increase the corruption. You are going to increase the chaos in the courts. You are not helping anyway.
Mr.
You are
Mishra,
not helping in
the
any
Congress
way.
was in power for how many decades, sir? For 60, for 60 years, the Congress has been in power. It could have been demolished by the Congress. If this is such a corrupt structure, why was it not removed?
The way how whole ecosystem has been developed by Bharatiya Janata Party.
They have a problem with transparency. They have a problem with audits.
Now, it is the epitome
The Congress
of
party's loyalty lies
Mr.
towards
Mishra,
the Sharia. It does
Mr.
not
Mishra,
lie towards
Mr. Mishra,
the
nobody,
Constitution, which,
just a second, Tuir. I just want to come in here. Mr. Mishra, I don't think even the worst critic of the BJP will say that the entire IAS, state administration, administrative service structure has been built by the Congress party. Has been built by the BJP. The Congress was very much in power. The basic structure was inherited from the British days, and if it was such a horrible, terrible structure, you could have changed it, Mr. Mishra. Let's not give this argument now, please.
It is not the problem of administrative structure. It is the problem of how it is being executed right now. How the whole ecosystem, how the whole corruption is happening across the country.
Okay.
BJP has become the epitome of corruption.
Yeah. So कूड़े के ढेर में sir आप IAS के structure को भी डाल दीजिएगा when you come to power in 2029 or perhaps in Bihar later this year. But Dr. Bajpai, have you heard of an argument like this? I've never heard of this kind of argument. People will have problems with bureaucracy being given certain powers, but to say that it is all completely corrupt, it is completely rotten. There are many questions that emerge from such a statement.
No, the difficulty with the Mr. Madhav, the difficulty with the Congress is they are creating self-goal for themselves only. Now it is a clearly demonstrable that they have no respect for the Election Commission of India, Supreme Court, Parliament, or any institution of the government. Although it all was built by the Constitution itself. So if you don't have a respect for the Constitution, or its a provision, or for the society, or for the citizens, even they have no respect to the sovereignty of the state, sovereignty of the country even. They ask in the Operation Sindoor also, how many planes were, fighter jets were demolished there. So I say ultimately the Congress is in the habit of doing such activities, such conduct, such statements which is damaging themselves.
Okay.
Waqf board is not a new act we have brought it. It's an old act. Certain amendments are made and which are for the purpose of giving benefit to the poor Muslims. I again say this word.
Okay. Mr. Shyam Kumar. Yeah.
गरीब मुसलमान उसकी भलाई के लिए है ये.
Yes. Mr. Shyam Kumar, I'm just quoting what Lalu Prasad Yadav said in 2010, I beg your pardon, regarding Waqf properties. And I'm just quoting him. He said, there should be a very strict law. All the land has been grabbed, whether it's government land, private land, or land belonging to those who work there. Everything has been sold off, prime land. It is not like it was agricultural land. All the property near Patna's dark bungalow has been turned into apartments. Everyone has looted. He said this on the floor of the Parliament House. Was Lalu Yadav wrong then, or is Tejashwi Yadav wrong today? Please tell us.
No, actually point is that what you are talking, that kind of the law which has just arrived, that is, centralization and, shifting the power to the government, excessive power, and there is a sincere effort. Again,
no, but there is need for reform. This is what Lalu has said. So that you're saying Lalu Yadav is wrong?
Autonomy. So I tell you, I'm reaching to the point what you would like to know. In the 2013 also there was a law arrived, but that law is never interfere in the autonomy, that dignity, existence. You understand that Waqf will we respect. Try to understand that we have to respect the every sentiment of every community. But kind of the it which has arrived, the direct interfere, excessive interfere, undermining everything. That is a serious issue for discussion.
No, sir. Section 50 has been removed, which in fact the opponents of it say that is the draconian section which existed earlier, which has now been removed.
Sir, I tell you, if there would have not been any such, content, why Supreme Court is taken this, matter for discussion?
Sir,
you are
Supreme
well
Court
aware.
Decided in favor?
The kind of and the time, time and at first, Supreme Court has taken for discussion, sir. It has
taken it up. So it has not given an order yet, sir. How are you saying that Supreme Court has taken up, therefore it is justified? Any number of cases Supreme Court may hear and after hearing reject. That is the legal process.
Sir, what I am talking, sir, Madhavji, let me clarify my stand. First of all, I would like to tell you there is nothing sacrosanct in democracy. You know that there is nothing sacred. There is nothing ultimate. Anything can be challenged either in the court of law or in the public domain, in the political process, democratic process. So there are only 2 or 3 ways. 2 ways in fact.
Sir, I'm quoting 2 statements. One is Tejaswi saying that Koodedan mein dal denge, and one is Lalu Yadav saying there is need for reform. And both those statements cannot go hand in hand, sir. This shows there is a clear U-turn and hypocrisy on part of RJD.
It will go hand in hand. Let me tell you, sir. Let me tell you. It will go hand by hand. It is a very relevant one. I tell you. You try to understand. In the 2013, the law which has arrived, never that try to disturb that autonomy, their dignity, their existence.
The 2 arguments can go hand in hand. I don't know if you understood Mr. Shamkumar's logic, but quick response, and then we move on after this.
Madhavji, the opposition needs to grow out of their entitled mindset. If the laws passed by parliament and implemented, if at all can be undone, it can only be undone by the courts of law. They need to, the sense needs to be drilled into this opposition. And, the opposition needs to get over its abrasive behavior. But when Tejashwi Yadav makes the statement that ये देश किसी के बाप का नहीं है, ये देश किसी के बाप का नहीं है, लेकिन बिहार आपके बाबूजी का है क्या? कैसे आप कूड़ेदान में फेंकेंगे? बिहार आपके बाबूजी का नहीं है, ये तेजस्वी यादव को समझना होगा. The opposition needs to grow out of its entitled mindset, because this was the same attitude they showed on CAA. This was the same attitude they showed on abrogation of Article 370. Eventually, even the Supreme Court heard the abrogation of Article 370 for 4 years. But eventually, the judgment was in favor of the government move. So we have implicit faith in the courts of law, but I think this opposition needs to behave.
All right, let the courts which are seized of this matter decide on it. Perhaps then we'll get some answers, and one will have to see whether at that point of time all will respect whatever the view is taken by the apex court. We'll have to leave it there. Dr. A.K. Vajpayee, Mr. Shyam Kumar and Asif Sohail, I'd like to thank both of you for joining us. Tuhin Sinha and Ashwini Kumar Mishra stay with us for debate number 2.